Welcome back. It's another week with Walter from Walterfootball.com and the OddsShopper channel. The two of us, myself, Eitan, Walt in the house. And if you have a little trouble seeing Walt right now, there's this shine that comes off a 5-0 week. So congratulations. I know this is business as usual for you, man. You're like, oh, come on. Am I going to get excited? I crush the books every week, but we have to mention a perfect, flawless 5-0 week for you. So congratulations. We have 5 more games to get into. We have walterfootball.com to talk about. We have the cutting floor. So we have a lot to get to, my friend.
Yeah, hopefully another 5-0 week. It'd be great to do that again. Yeah, it's nice to go 5-0. We went, I think we went 4-1 a couple weeks ago too, but 2-3 in between, so which is like a frustrating week where he had some like bad beats. But yeah, glad to go 5-0. Let's do it again.
Love it. Love it. All right, let's begin. We have 5 games to look at, the cutting floor as well. Things that it was so close, but just didn't quite make it. We begin in Minnesota, a Saturday action here with maybe what is a surprisingly short line across the board for the Colts and Vikings.
Yeah, so a couple like last week I was talking about how the Vikings were underdogs in Detroit, and it was like the theme of like, why is this team favored? Like, this is like the hillbilly cousin of that. It's like, why is this team only favored by this number? And I think like you might think I'm crazy by saying this. In fact, like, you might summon some people to take me away in a straitjacket to the mental ward near us, which I think is like on Byberry Road.
I don't
I
live
think
far from that.
yeah, right. So I think this may sound crazy, but I don't think the Vikings are that much better than the Colts. In fact, I think they might be even. And that may sound crazy because the Colts are 4-8-1, the Vikings are 10-3, but just don't look at the records. Just look at the results and also the metrics. The Vikings in net adjusted EPA are 23rd in the NFL. The Colts are 18th. And look at how they've done against similar opponents. The Vikings the Vikings played the Eagles. They got killed. The Colts play the Eagles. They almost won. They lost by 1 point. Against the Cowboys, the Vikings got absolutely destroyed. It wasn't even close. The Colts did too, but if after 3 quarters, it was 21-19. There were a bunch of weird turnovers after that. Against the Commanders, about the same results. I know the Colts lost to them, but that was with Sam Ehlinger starting. If Matt Ryan starts that game, I think they win that game maybe. The only difference was the Patriots game. The Vikings beat them on Thanksgiving. The Colts got blown out by the Patriots, but that was another Sam Ehlinger start. So if you look at these teams, go position by position, except for quarterback and receiver, I struggle to see where the Vikings are better than the Colts. The Colts have the better run defense. They have the better running game. They have the better defense. And you're going to give me 4 points with those factors. I like the Colts. It wouldn't surprise me if they pulled the upset, but I think the most likely results of this game are Vikings by 3 and Colts by 3 in some order, and we get both of those at the +4. So I like the Colts.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. I was ready to call the big white coats. See if Dan, our producer here, could have some sort of still shot for you filling in. But no, it's hard because you have the human turnover and Matt Ryan. But still, the arguments you made are sound, and we got hillbilly cousin out of that as well. So I think you nailed it, man. That's a parlay right there, nailing it right with the first game. All right, let's move to our second game here, which also we have on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the first game, the spread was is conceived as too low. I think this line's too high. I made this line -6, and it's 7.5 in the contest. It's actually down to 7, so you're actually getting some value with the +7.5. And something I do is, like, I actually, before I look at the spreads, I make my own lines and to see like where the lines are, just so I'm not influenced. And I think this is a little too high. Miami has played nothing but close games this year when Tua has been able to play from start to finish. The biggest loss for them has been by 6 points. You may recall the 49ers game, but Tua got hurt in that game. He hurt his ankle. He had to leave, and he didn't get a chance at backdoor cover. And I think with those receivers that he has, with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, it just makes him live for a backdoor cover because they can score so quickly when other teams just stop trying. We saw this like repeatedly early in the season. Like they were down big against Baltimore and they just came back. They actually won that game, but they had a huge comeback last week against the Chargers. They were doing nothing all night, and then they had the touchdown at the end. I think if it comes to it, they can get the backdoor cover, but I'm not sure if they'll need it. The Bills are pretty banged up. Matt Milano, they're one of their best defensive players, may be out. Von Miller has been out. They're missing some players in their secondary. I just don't think a team that banged up should be favored by more than a touchdown. Like, we get every single key number with Miami. I think the one concern people are going to have is it's going to be 25 degrees in Buffalo, and that may sound cold for a team like Miami, but 25 degrees, and maybe this is like the Philly bias in me. Like I don't think 25 degrees is that bad. Like I remember going to Minnesota for the Super Bowl, and I remember looking at the weather. And, like here in Philly, it was like 30, 25, 35. Yeah. And I saw Minnesota's weather. And like, it was like 2, -1, 0. And I'm like, that's the same. Like, who cares? It's not the same. It's not even close, especially when someone steals your jacket and you have to walk around without one outside. And nearly froze to death. So, yeah, I don't think 25 degrees is that big of a deal. It's not going to be nearly as bad as it's going to be in Green Bay on Monday night. So I think this is going to be a close game. It's a tough rivalry, and Miami has the receivers to get the back door if they need it.
Yeah, I like the weather angle too. I feel like if you're in Miami, you're playing in South Beach, the weather as far as temperature is drastically different, but you're getting wind. How often do you look at wind down in a Miami Dolphins game and have that impact where it could be rain as well? So the wind is a sense of familiarity that may transfer over there. Makes a lot of sense. You make it north of 7.5 too. So, or north of 7, pardon me, it's 7.5. All right, we have 3 more games to get to, but let's remind the world here what you're doing over at walterfootball.com. It's awesome. There are so many different things you can take advantage of, from mock drafts, which we continue to pound here because you guys are nailing them week to week. If you're looking at anything from DFS to just studying the lines, getting some plays, you guys have a ton of things happening at walterfootball.com, man.
Yeah, anything to do with the NFL, we have it. We have mock drafts with both Charlie Campbell and our senior NFL draft analyst. Like we produce mock drafts every single week. We have pick updates throughout the week. So we post our picks on Tuesday, but when the line moves, when there are injuries, stuff like that, or when I just change my opinion, do some research, like we'll post updates for the picks throughout the week. We have fantasy rankings. If you're in the playoffs, congratulations. If you're still playing DFS, we have some DFS picks as well. We grade every sign, every trade. So yeah, we do everything at walterfootball.com.
Awesome. We'll keep it moving. We'll remind you all one more time as well what you can do on walterfootball.com. Steelers, Panthers. You are the brave individual who chose this game, sir. Have at it.
Yeah, so it's a weird line movement here. So the advanced spread on this game before the week 14 happened, the advanced spread on this game was Steelers -2.5, and now the Panthers are favored by 3. It's a 5.5 point line movement, and like why? You kind of have to ask yourself why. Steelers lost to the Ravens, even though they threw 3 interceptions, they almost won that game. And the Panthers did a great job in Seattle. We had Carolina last week, but Seattle is very overrated. I'm not as impressed with that win, I feel like, as everyone else is. So I don't see why there would be a 5.5 point line adjustment. Like, even if Mitchell Trubisky starts over Kenny Pickett, it's not like Kenny Pickett's this great quarterback. It's not that much of a downgrade. And I think Trubisky, like having thrown those 3 interceptions last week, is going to be more careful with the football, at least hopefully for this pick. But I'm looking at I think the major edge in this game is the Steeler pass rush with TJ Watt, which is great, against the Carolina offensive line. Carolina's offensive line is really bad. And whenever they go against an elite pass rush, they struggle. In fact, they haven't won a single game against the top 15 pass rush this year. They're 0-4. They've gotten blown out by San Francisco and Cincinnati. And the Steelers are 4-2 with TJ Watt. Their only losses with Watt are against Cincinnati and Baltimore. And we know that those 2 teams are better than Carolina because they both beat Carolina. So I think getting +3, we get both results by 3. It's probably going to be a close game, and I'm pretty confident that the Steelers are going to either win or keep it like within a couple of points.
Yeah, the quarterback change alone shouldn't be the reason, right, for that wide of, especially if you're going from a guy in Pickett who hasn't been throwing for 350 and 3 each week, Walt.
Yeah, this is not Ben Roethlisberger circa 2010. This is Kenny Pickett, who is a rookie and has made some mistakes. I'd rather have him than Trubisky, and he can still start this game. He was limited in practice on Wednesday. It's not like he's declared out. It's not like Russell Wilson where he missed Wednesday's practice and probably will be out. I think there's a chance he's going to play.
You've referenced Philly countless times here already in the 10 minutes that we've been on. So I can assure you that Walter, myself, and everybody else in this region will be rooting for Doug Peterson against the Dallas Cowboys this week. How do you see this game, though, is a different story, right?
Yeah, the Cowboys play the Eagles next week on Christmas Eve. So the low hanging fruit here is that the Cowboys are going to be flat because they play the Eagles the following week. So that's one thing you can take from this game, and also the Eagles Bears game. So I don't only like to look at motivational angles, and with the Eagles Bears game, that's the only thing I could find. That's the only reason I could find to bet the Bears. But here, I think there are definitely other reasons. So Jacksonville has a top 10 run defense. Derrick Henry looked great in the first half last week, but he had 2 rushing yards in the second half. They did a great job on him. And if you can stop Dallas's run, they really can't do all that much. Dak Prescott needs everything around them to be perfect. And that's already not the case because they lost a right tackle for the year. So I think Dallas's offense is going to struggle for the second week in a row. They almost lost at Houston. And I think that, people are quick to forget some of their other recent results. They blew out the Colts, but it was 21-19 after 3 quarters. They lost to Green Bay. They played the Giants closely until the second half. They exploded in the second half, but they were losing at halftime on Thanksgiving. So Dallas hasn't been as impressive as I think people seem to remember. And Jacksonville plays close games. Take out the Lions game when Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Outside of that game, they've only lost by more than 8 once. And that was to the Chiefs, and that was a 10-point game. And their kicker missed a chip shot field goal right before halftime, so that could have been a 7-point result. So yeah, Jaguars play close games. I'm not sure they should be more than +3. I think that they either win this game or keep it to 3. Like maybe Dallas wins by field goal at the end once again. But I think I like the Jaguars +4.
Love it. Nobody here is going to argue with that, my friend. One more game to get to. The cutting floor will hit before we recap everything else and get out of here. Titans, Chargers. Last game for you on the card.
Yeah, talk about teams that shouldn't be favored by a lot. We had the Chargers last week, but I don't like them as favorites at all. And I think people are going to be quick to bet them after they look so impressive against Miami and Tennessee. Tennessee lost in a blowout to Jacksonville, but I like betting on good teams or well-coached teams after they get humiliated, and Tennessee definitely did. So I think they bounced back, and Mike Vrabel is great again as an underdog. But the Chargers, this is the main thing for me. Like the Chargers, they're not 3 points better than the Titans. They get no points for being at home. So they're not that good. They remind me of the Nikola car company, the EV company. They had this company had a commercial where they had their EV truck just like driving downhill. It looked so impressive. And then a couple months later, a short report was released saying that it had no engine. The people just rolled it down the hill. And that's what the Chargers remind me of. They're just they're all flash, but no substance at all. They have Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. These guys are all great fantasy players, but this team can't pass protect. They can't run the ball. Eckler catches passes, but he doesn't run. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass, and they can't get to the quarterback. So it's what does this team do well exactly outside of throw, especially when they're down? I don't think they should be favored by more than 3. Outside of quarterback and receiver, really just go down the roster. Where are the Chargers better than the Titans? I think the Titans had the better defense. They obviously had the better running game, and I think Derrick Henry against this horrible run defense is going to just go off and control the clock. And I think the Chargers are going to get upset here, or at the very most, they're going to win by 3, and we're going to push. So the most likely results of this game are Titans by 3, Chargers by 3, and we get the win in the push with the +3. So I like Tennessee.
Hey, I love the coaching angle here. Clearly, you have one guy who should get a benefit of being able to bounce back and motivate, and another guy on the Chargers sideline who is just waiting to do something. I saw this and look, you bring up trends, and we always talk about this whenever we bring a trend up, that one is not the be all end all. Sometimes it applies. Sometimes you get multiple ones that apply, but it does kind of guide into what you were saying here. Herbert is 4-8-1 ATS versus head coaches that were former defensive coordinators. There's something to that, right? This big bad talent going up against a coach who knows defense, and Mike Vrabel's definitely one of them. So I'm with you, brother. And who am I to disagree? You went 5-0 last year.
Justin Herbert is he has a bad record overall as a favorite. I think off the top of my head, he's 7-13 against the spread as a favorite or something. It's just his team just finds ways to lose. And the fact that they're favored, if they were +3, I maybe consider them, but -3, they shouldn't be favored by 3.
All right, let's recap the 5 picks. 1 or 2 plays on the cutting floor, and then we'll remind everybody, of course, about Walterfootball.com and get out of here.
Yeah, the 5 plays are the Colts +4, Dolphins +7.5, Steelers +3, Jaguars +4, and Titans +3. So the 2 that missed the cut are games that we're actually going to bet in real life. I actually bet one of them already. The problem is that they're +2.5 in the contest, and I wanted +3. The first one is the Ravens, the middle game, the only one on the Saturday card we didn't have. I really like the +3, but it's +2.5 in the contest. You know, we're waiting on Tyler Huntley's status, but he practiced in full on Wednesday, so it sounds like he's going to go. If this were Anthony Brown, I'd obviously want to get a much better number than +3, but it sounds like it's going to be Huntley. So I haven't bet this one yet. I just want to see. I want to get his status confirmed. The other one, this one I bet already. It's Arizona +3. It's +3 in real life, but 2.5 in the contest. So Russell Wilson did practice Wednesday. I mentioned that. I'd be shocked if he plays. Like he just looks so lost when he was concussed. You know, hopefully he gets better, but he just looks so out of it. I'd be shocked if he plays. So we have Brett Rippon laying 3 points. I don't care who's playing quarterback for Arizona. You know, it's could be who they have in the past, like Max Hall, John Skelton, like could be those guys. But you know, Colt McCoy is like fine. He's a good backup. Like he should be able to keep this game close, even though Denver's defense is great. You know, they're just going to check it down to James Conner all day, and they're at the very worst they're going to lose by 3. But I think Arizona should be able to beat Brett Rippon.
It's an interesting point. They could pull the punter out as a 4th string at this point, and they're going up against the guy in Rippon who's laying points. I love it, man. Great call on the Ravens, too. We talked about them last week and the line movement without Jackson. People overreact to it. One more time, walterfootball.com.
Yeah, we have tons of NFL content, NFL draft content. Our Charlie Campbell, our senior NFL draft analyst, he nailed the first top 10 picks in the 2022 NFL mock draft. After that, like there were so many trades, it just went crazy. It's just unpredictable. But he knew what teams are going to do. I actually got text from him a couple days before the draft, like T-Max is going to take this player if he's there. And it all worked out. Like that's why we hit every single draft prop we had except for extreme long shots. So I'm looking forward to the draft props again. Like we cleaned up, and I was so sad that they had betting limits on some of these sports books because we would have went like even crazier with some of our bets. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that in April.
All right, that's Walter. I'm Eitan. Thanks to Dan for producing. Thanks to you all out there. Thumbs up, subscribe on the way out. And what are you doing? Head on over to walterfootball.com. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.